Hey everyone, welcome back after a long 2-week segment of really digging deep into how epidermal growth factor receptor works and how that IRESA drug affects development of cancers that are affected by that gene and that protein. I know that was a pretty intense dig into some science, and I hope it wasn't too overwhelming for you. I tried to, combine a lot of the things that we've learned and sort of bring them together to show you how all the technologies we've been talking about, all the science we've been talking about, really come together on one single project in biotechnology. We're going to jump away from sort of that hardcore science today, or in this next 2 weeks, and we're going to move into how biotechnology affects society. We're going to talk about the ethics and the ethical questions brought up by biotechnology. We're going to talk about patenting genes, so kind of into the legal realm of who owns inventions made in biotechnology. And then we're going to talk about the current regulations that govern this part of our economy. And so the first thing to say is that the reading is pretty good, but it's pretty long, so definitely get started on that pretty soon. And then the lecture, we're going to talk a lot about ethics. In the first, probably over half of the lecture, we'll talk about ethics. And the thing about ethics that I want to make clear right here is that it's not telling you what's right or wrong. And ethics isn't even about figuring out what's right or wrong. Ethics is really about framing questions of morality so that you can discuss what you think is right or wrong and try to have a kind of rational and measured discussion of why you feel the way you do about certain issues, and why the values that you have impact different parts of the discussions you might think about. And so when we start entering ethics, don't get into the mindset that we're going to be deciding what's right or wrong about biotechnology. The discussion of ethics is really our first foray into how to discuss and how to help each individual make a decision about what's right or wrong. And so it's probably going to be very interesting, but I think at the end of the ethical section here, we'll probably feel pretty unsatisfied because, this lecture isn't going to give you any answers. It's going to provide a lot of questions and hopefully help provide some structure into how to think through those questions. There could be semesters and semesters on, discussing these kinds of topics. So this is just a little taste of the issues brought up, the societal issues brought up by this really interesting technology that we've been talking about. So I hope you find it a pretty interesting week. The discussion should probably be really good. And the quizzes, I have to have some kind of quiz, so I'm just going to focus on some sort of facts and examples that we use to sort of, think about ethics. I'm certainly not going to quiz you on what is the right thing, what is the wrong thing, but I will, do a quiz that sort of makes sure that you thought about the examples and looked at all the resources as usual. Okay, so have a fun couple of weeks thinking about biotechnology and society. And I'll see you back in 2 weeks where we'll go into another case study about a probably environmental project as opposed to a medical product. Bye-bye.